So I'll discuss about the economic outlook of commercial real estate. And I'll start with the snapshot. So this is from the data. This data comes from National Association of Industrial and Office Parks. So what they estimated that in 2020, new development of commercial real estate and the ongoing operations of existing commercial real estate building contributed to approximately 1 trillion to US GDP. And it supported 8 million American jobs and generated 338.1 billion salaries and wages. Now, even in 2020, that there were 565 million square feet of office, industrial, warehouse, and retail space were built, and with the capacity to house 1.4 million new employees. Okay. Okay. Next thing is that for those of you who, if you new to the commercial real estate, let me talk about little bit about 4 major property types. So we have the retail properties that include the indoor shopping malls, outdoor malls, big box retailers. It also includes the grocery stores and restaurants. And then the office properties that includes, like, you can think the big skyscrapers like Manhattan skyscrapers, like, and here in Charlotte, Bank of America Corporate Center, to your lawyer's office. Then multi-family properties that mostly includes the apartment buildings and apartment complexes. So homes rented by their owners, that is categorized more as a residential, not commercial. And then industrial properties that include land and buildings used for production, manufacturing, assembly, warehousing, research and development, data centers, storage and distribution. Okay, so these are the 4 major property types. There are other property types too, but these are the 4 major property types. Now I am going to show you the data. This is the quarterly GDP growth, and this is annualized. Now, if you look at the data, if you see that US economy mostly growing 2 to 3% annualized rate, right? But then COVID-19 happened. That COVID-19, then you can see that second quarter of 2020, GDP plunged to 31.4%. And this is second quarter of 2020, and just after that, third quarter it bounced back. When the lockdown was over, it bounced back to, it gained 33.4%. This is the annualized rate. Okay. Similar thing happens if you talk about very similar if you talk about business investment as a percentage change. Similar thing happens, right? It got hit just exactly the same time when the first wave of COVID-19 hit us, like that. That was, I think, in business investment annualized rate, it went down by 46.6%. Now I want to show you the labor market. In the labor market, you can see that until you can see that when that COVID-19 happened, unemployment rate in April 2020, it was the highest, 14.8%. 14.8% unemployment rate in April 2020. And then eventually, after the lockdown is over, and then eventually it went down. Right now in March 2021, the unemployment rate is only 6%. So it is getting closer to natural rate of unemployment, but it will take some time. We are not there yet. And then if you talk about the private, total non-farm private payroll employment, you can see that it was highest In February 2020, 129,393.68. It's in thousands, numbers in thousands. And then because of COVID in April 2020, it went down to 109,798.16, and then it is going up again. Okay. Next thing I will talk about. So what is the assessment? Assessment is that 2020 is the recovery year. So we expect that significant increase in economic activity from pent-up demand, because the demand was suppressed because of COVID-19. So we can expect significant increase in economic activity from the pent-up demand. Commercial real estate industry participants, they are optimistic. We give positive outlook. They are giving positive outlook. CBO forecasts that 3.7% real GDP growth in 2021. Real GDP is projected to return the pre-pandemic level in mid-2021 and to surpass its potential GDP, that is the long-run GDP, in the early 2025. That is the Congress. This data comes from the Congressional Budget Office. This is the CBO forecast. Now, the same thing, CBO also saying that unemployment rate gradually declines through 2026, and the number of people employed return to the pre-pandemic level in 2024. Now, we all know that because of COVID-19, 2020 was a challenging year. We have seen the record declines in rents posted in some property types, vacancies rising in relatively fast pace in office and retail. But industrial, if you see the industrial properties, that has held steady and resilient. Now, what are the things? I will still say that uncertainties remain. Because of the uncertainties remains because of the COVID variant, vaccine, and the efficacy of the vaccine. Efficacy of the vaccine, we still don't know a lot of things about the vaccine, whether it can work with every variant, whether how long this vaccine will work, whether we have to take the vaccine every year or not. Many things we do not know yet. Now I am moving to 4 different property types. So we start with the national apartment market. So at the end of 2020, you can see the vacancy rate. You can see that vacancy rate at the end of 2020, that was 5.2%. Can you guys see that 5.2% at the end of 2020? That was 5.2%. And you can also see that record declines in the asking rate and the effective rate. Effective rent, that was, if you talk about the 2019 and 2020, you can see that asking rate is going down, rent is going down, and the effective rent also going down. And this happens in 2020. And so this is what I feel. That for investors in Class B and Class C apartments, they're likely to face more challenges from the falling occupancy rates. And the tenants in more expensive, like Class A apartments, are more likely to keep their jobs and they can work remotely. Generation Z and millennial renters, they will move out of large cities. Some of them, not everybody, I cannot say everybody, and relocate to 18-hour cities in search of both well-paying jobs and more affordable housing. By 18-hour city, you guys can think like Raleigh-Durham, like Denver, Colorado, Charlotte, those cities, Nashville, right? Austin, Texas, those cities, right? And the rents in top-tier metro cities are expected to drop in 2021 and then regain from 2022. Like you can think of New York City, those cities you can think of New York City, San Francisco, LA, Chicago, those cities I'm talking about. And then I'm moving to office. Now, office vacancies, actually, this rose by 90 basis points in 2020, ending at 17.7%. And then also we have seen the asking and effective rent expected to decline in 2021 with a continued fall in the occupancy rates. So you guys can see in the office vacancy rate at the end of 2020, that is 17.7%, and it will continue to go up now, projected to go up 19.4%. This is the data I am using, the data of Moody's Analytics REIS. Okay, so they are projecting that office vacancy will go up in 2021 19.4%, and then again in 2022 also 19.5%, and it will stay there for some time. So this is what I am saying, that for office space, if you talk about the post-COVID office space, some employers will continue to offer work from home. In general, that employers are going to evaluate their overall office space needs to reduce the cost. And office vacancies expected to approach record highs in late 2021 or 2022, depending on the geographic market. This is what Moody's Analytics are saying, that they are projecting that office vacancies expected to approach record highs in late 2021 or 2022. So this is what you will see, that even though after the post-COVID office spaces reopen, future office space demand remains uncertain at present. So we cannot really see. So we have to see more data to come to a conclusion. Now I am moving to the retail market. I'll show you the data. You see that in 2020 fourth quarter, the vacancy rate ended at 10.5%. And then in 2021 projected is 12.7%. So basically vacancy rate is going up from 2020 to 2021. It is almost like more than 1%, right? It is going up. So this is what I am saying, that retail vacancy is expected to hit record highs to 12.7% in 2021, and it will stay there 2022 before declining somewhat. This is the data I am talking about from Moody's Analytics. And then rent are expected to decline in next couple of years, and then it will recover. So here in retail properties, we are saying the rents are expected to decline in next couple of years. Now the question is that how to repurpose the fallow retail space. And the other question will be that what will bring customers back to the physical store in post-COVID-19. So one few proposed solution is that we can use that retail properties as a mixed use. We can also use that as a mass vaccination center. Some of those fallow retail space. Some of those fallow retail space you can convert it as a mixed use or as mass vaccination center. Now this is an interesting slide that I got it from National Association of Realtors, Commercial Real Estate. This is a quarterly survey, 2022 quarter 4th survey. How are the vacant malls being repurposed in our market? You can see the data. So 37% said that mixed use. Like in the mall, you can see that it can be a mixed use of residential, retail, office, and also restaurants. Then 25% says that industrial use, 21% says that it can be used as church, 17% said that self-storage, 16% said that healthcare, hospital, medical, 15% said that office space, 8% said that multi-family residential, 7% said that college and university office, 6% says that government building, office, police precinct, and then 2% says that health, armory, and 2% for the sports stadium, and 29% in other activities. So this is very interesting how you can utilize the fallow retail space. There was a survey. This is what people said. Okay, now I am moving to industrial market, national industrial market. This is the flex and R&D. So flex and R&D vacancies down by 10 basis point in 2020 to 10.2%. And then this is the only market actually is doing good and is resilient. This is the only market. Effective rents rose by 0.5% in the fourth quarter of 2020 for the flex and R&D. And it is very similar. Warehousing, if you talk about the warehousing and distribution, it is pretty similar. Warehouse and distribution vacancies down by 10 basis point in 2020 to 10.5%, and effective rents rose by 0.6% in the fourth quarter of 2020. Okay. So these are the four major markets that we discussed. So let me then summarize it. So first thing I am saying that fiscal policy and monetary policy should continue. That's what government is doing. You remember that when the COVID-19 happened, then I think President Trump, he passed the CARES Act that was 2.2 trillion, and that definitely helped the economy. And then President Biden, he announced that in March, I think he signed that American Rescue Plan that is for 1.9 trillion. I think these two definitely should help the economy. And then monetary policy, I think in March 2020, FOMC committee, Federal Open Market Committee, they reduced the federal funds rate to 0% to 0.25%. And they did continue that the great recession, that 2007-9 recession, they started the quantitative easing, and they also continuing the quantitative easing right now. Also, they purchase security purchases. They purchase that treasury securities, also the mortgage-backed securities, and they also this time they directly lend to banks and major corporate employers. So what we expect right now, the recovery of office, retail and hotel sectors, it is expected to be a little slower compared to the broader economy. We do not see that much problem in the industrial properties, but we will say that office, retail and hotel sectors may be expected to be a little slower recovery compared to the broader economy. And finally, I want to say that uncertainty will remain for some time, and when we say that full economic recovery depends on the medical solution. Okay, so this is what I tried to brief little bit about the current economic outlook of commercial real estate.